And so today, we're going to break it down step by step for you. So please do me a favor, make sure you've got something to take some notes, because I'm going to present some actionable takeaways that you'll be able to implement in your business today, even though you're not with us, because that's how we like to deliver content here, that it's really valuable to you. So please make sure you've got that. And I'd also just recommend I like to say turn the noise off. So just let people know, if you're in your office, I'm locked in for the next 40 minutes. Turn the phones off, because again, we want to make sure that you get the most value for being here. And then secondly, as we go through this particular webinar and you want more information, say, hey, how do I get my hands on that? Or I want to talk to somebody. There's a chat box in there. All you need to do is put in your phone number, and within 24 hours, someone's going to reach out to you. And when you do that, please make sure that you put the dash between your numbers. It just kind of helps our system. So with that being said, let's talk about our agenda. Today, I'm going to talk about sales process fundamentals. It's always about the basics. What do we build from so that we can maximize the opportunity? And then second, I'm going to lay out the first employment structure. This is proven. This works every single time. It is best practice. I guarantee you, yes, I'm going to say that, if you apply this structure, you will watch your close ratios go up, because you're going to win more relationships the way that I believe that sales was designed to be done. And then we're going to talk about our platform capabilities. You're going to learn more not about just what we're doing first one, but how are we helping our advisors do things different when it comes to the execution, because we're doing things that are pretty unique here at Simplicity Wealth. And then some training opportunities. At the end of the day, it's all about training. So I have two coaches in my life. If you look at any successful entrepreneur, professional in sports, they have multiple coaches. They understand that in order to master their craft, they need to continually work on it. And we believe the same thing here at Simplicity, and that's why we invest so hard in our training. And we're going to share with you what that looks like, and hopefully you'll be excited about that, and we'll see you at one of our trainings coming up here. So let's talk about sales process fundamentals. And I want to go to the very beginning. You see, when somebody meets you for the first time, there's really two questions that are bubbling up, because they're like, okay, don't know you, I kind of know you. But the first one is this. They want to know, who are you? Like, who is this individual standing in front of me in the room? Or, like, how do they get here? They just want to know who you are. And for those that are taking notes, this is very important. This is not your resume. This is why you love what you do. It's why you love helping individuals. And we help our advisors get coached into this at our sales training, something called your founder story. So again, if you're taking notes, how you execute this question is through your founder story. Imagine in 2 minutes or less, someone gets to know you by you sharing with them in a very structured way as to why you love what you do, and they picture themselves like, wow, if I was to work with this person, that's how they would take care of me. And by doing so, that opens them up, because they begin to connect with you. And the second question then is, why you? So out of all the people on this planet that provide, financial planning services, or if you're focused on life, annuity, securities, whatever it is, then they're like, okay, now that I kind of connect with you, I want to know, why is it you? You see, because trust has two fundamental pieces when we examine it. Trust has connection, and it has credibility. And most people lead with why me, when the truth of the matter is we need to lead in with who you are from a connection perspective to then create that opportunity. So how do we then answer the question then, why you? Well, it's answered in the sales process. The first is there's a promise. And the promise, I want you to think of it like marketing. You're putting a message out to the world, to your target audience, that by following your process, or by implementing the plans, or whatever it is, you're declaring that if they follow you, that you're going to deliver on a promise from your products or service. Every company does it. Generates the leads, generates the interest, and so on. The second step to that, first, I'm talking about, then how they get there is in your process. And this is where the magic comes in. This is where you began to focus on one-on-one. Where a lot of times I watch advisors kind of step over this, because the third step to it is the solutions. So this is your products or services. And so when you look at this, I'd like you just to be honest with yourself for a second, is how many of you, and I've seen this, like I said, coaching for the last 11 years, I've been in this business a long time, people get pretty good at the promise. In fact, all of us on this call here today, we could craft a promise, take it out to the world, and generate interest. We all could do that, meaning we all could have the same promise. And I guarantee you that we all could have the same solutions. What I mean by that, so if you're on this call, from money managers to certain financial vehicles, as long as you get contracted, universally, we can all have the same solution. So what makes you unique? What makes you different? What makes you stand out is your ability to walk people through your process that makes it dynamic, so where all of a sudden you begin to stand out, they begin to feel the experience, and when you do that, I promise you, they're going to understand clearly that you are the person I need to move forward. So going back to the question, why you out of everybody else, they begin to experience the promises that you begin to make. Because we all know and understand this. We don't sell tables or chairs. We sell hope around these financial vehicles delivering upon a certain level of expectation. And so we know that trust is going to be what brings us across that bridge. That's with anything. But it's how somebody experiences that. And at the highest level, this is a big decision. Me going, buying a cable versus hiring a financial advisor, it's actually the same process, but the risk associated to it could not be, more extreme. So what does that look like? So what is that path? And we're going to spend some time on it. Is that every prospect that you steps into your world, if it's a referral or, let's say you do workshops and you're meeting them for the first time, they all have a current state. And then they have a desired state. So again, here they stand and there they want to be. And what sits in between that are the challenges. It's truly that simple. And so we're constantly in a space that if we're not happy with where we're at, well, that creates those challenges. And I like to say that problems or challenges come in pairs. And we talk a lot about this at the sales training, and so do solutions. Remember, there's a fact and there's a feeling in a challenge. So when a problem comes in pairs, I'm doing something or I'm not doing something. That's a fact. And because I'm doing that or not doing that, it is creating a feeling. And so when we get into, we won't talk about it today, when we present solutions have to come in pairs as well. It's got to present to the fact, but ultimately solve to the feeling. And when you actually look at the research, the fact only represents about 10%, and the other 90% is the feeling that's causing, hey, I don't want to run out of money, or I'm concerned about inflation, whatever it is, and really when you can dive into that. So how do we coach our advisors and empower them with the right skills and techniques to help a client cross this journey? Well, the first is you got to build trust. And I kind of talked about this a little bit. Trust has two components, connection and credibility. And did you know there's actual tools and skills? I already gave you one example, like your founder story, that you can learn and implement that enhances this gap of trust so you can get to it faster, more authentic, and in a way where people feel that you are there to serve them. Because as much as that might be the intention, it gets down to the following, that what you say, how you say it, and when you say it, it all matters. And we coach very, very specifically to helping you get better at that skill set. The second thing is to seek to understand. So it's about having this spirit about how do this individual that sits here, they're in a current situation, they have a desired output, and they feel that there's these challenges that are sitting in the way. Particular path. And really this is that foundation, that fundamental, no matter what business you're in, right? We do this consciously and subconsciously every single day. So as you listen to this, at whatever time you're listening, maybe it's prior to lunch, like, okay, I'm hungry. you will consciously and subconsciously do this even when you go to lunch. Like, okay, current situation, I'm hungry, desire, want to feel satiated. Is it, Italian or a sandwich, whatever, low risk, boom, got it. All of a sudden it might be, hey, I'm thinking about moving my family. We all go through this process. And the only difference between my example of going to lunch and moving your family is the risk associated to it. The higher the risk, hear me please, the higher the risk, the more information I need in order to make what? An informed decision. So how do we build on top of it? And so this is going to be a great moment. So hopefully you're taking notes. At the end of your first appointment, these will be the only 2 questions that need to be answered. If you can answer these questions effectively, it will drastically affect the close ratio as you move from your first to your second. So, 1, can I help this person? You can't help everybody, right? But the question is, can I help this person? Meaning that, do they have a problem, a current problem, that you know that you can deliver upon? The second question, and I will share with you, this is probably the question that gets missed most often with an advisor and that particular prospect. Do they want to be helped? Do they want to be helped? And if you don't get that buy-in inside that first appointment, I promise you this, is that you will find yourself doing a lot of work and have a second or third and meeting like, hey, we got to really think about it, appreciate all our work, and you get ghosted. And that is because that fundamentally we have to lean in and see, does this person want to be helped? Because if they do, that means it's about change. And are they open to change or not? And you've got it. And I'm going to walk you through the scripting here today on how to kind of lay this structure out. But folks, like, this is it. You have to, I love to make the statement as, your yes has no power unless you can say no. Meaning that, I don't know if I can help this person. Literally walking into your first appointment with this spirit and this intention about, I'm not too sure if I can help him. That's why I have a process to discover, can I help you? And then once you can discover that, then it's like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, do you want to know how we help people? Then I lay out, here's how we help them. And then it's like, are you open to that change? And so that's going to be what we step through. But why I want to spend some time on this screen is because if you don't get this, it's not going to have the impact that I'm hoping it does on your sales. So, again, how do we answer it? Identifying the prospect's challenges and concerns, understand and agree on those challenges and concerns. Again, the technical term on this is looping to understand. And I got to find the problem, and then I got to send it back for confirmation. And one of the most powerful things that can happen inside a conversation is the alignment that, yes, that is the challenge, and that you've done a good job at finding that, they've articulated it, now we agree upon it, and then securing the commitment to solving it. I love, hopefully there's some Zig Ziglar fans on this webinar here today. I love this statement. He says, if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. How true is that? But the spirit of this is all about servanthood. And that is how we coach here at Simplicity. So what is this structure that I keep referring to? This might be something, again, pencil it out, or maybe just grab your phone, take a picture, whatever is easy here. But the first 30 minutes is all about connection. And those who are taking notes, this is the most important time of the entire journey you're walking your prospect through. I want to repeat that. This is the most important time of the entire 1 appointment, 2 appointment, 3, whatever it is, of that journey. And what is that? It is the connection through your ability to ask the right questions and listen. To actively listen to what they're saying. Why are they saying that? What does that mean to them? It's this beautiful dialogue of current to desired, and what do those challenges, and what does that look like? Remember, there's a fact and a feeling that's connected to those. And so, and I'm going to walk you through some of that scripting. Then, that's going to lead to the second part, is identifying. This is where we dive into reviewing the assets. So what are they doing? So what are they might have mentioned, hey, I don't understand my 401k. You're like, I want to look at it. because you want to know, why do they feel that way? Because once you've packaged and captured those feelings, then I'm going to give you the exact script that they literally take their finger out. Our advisors love it, and they point right to the problem. They will tell you that it hurts right there. It hurts in my 401k. I don't understand it. It's up and down. Or maybe they're a government employee and they're like, I don't get this G fund or C fund. And then the third is to progress the conversation, meaning not close it, but now it's about how do we share with them, this is how we solve the problem. And so this begins to move into kind of progressing it and closing that into them coming back so that they can see and understand their personal situation, how you can fix that. So let's dive in it. So I call this 1 hour. Doesn't have the exact, but you get the structure, and that's the main thing. So I want to give you exact scripting to think about when it comes to this. So on the front side, I'm sitting down here with Jim and Julian. I've done some small talk connection. Hey, thanks for coming in. You know, we all love Costco cookies. I hope you love yours, or whatever you do to warm that up. We actually train to this. There's a couple questions that kind of really get that going. Now you're ready to move into the business side of it. So I'm going to say, Jim and Julie, it's great to see you again. Appreciate you coming in for our meeting. Also want to say thank you for taking the time to fill out the questionnaire. But in order to maximize our time together and get the most out of our strategy session, I'd like to know what's important to the both of you here today. Specifically, what would you like to accomplish in a meeting? And now all of a sudden, you've laid this out and the antennas are up, and we're now moving into one of the most important skill sets as a sales professional is actively listening. What are they saying? What's the first thing that they run to? What's the emotion behind that? How do they layer that in? The husband says this. What does the wife say? And now you're just listening to it. Got it. Wonderful. And you're going to be able to circle back around on that and say, well, thank you for sharing that with me. Excited because I'm definitely going to be able to help answer those questions with you here today and to see if there's anything at our firm that we might be able to help you with further on that. How does that sound to the both of you? Now, we got alignment and buy-in to the agenda to where we're going. Why is this so critical? Because this meeting is about them. And if all we do, hey, thanks so much for coming, and you start launching into your questions, you've made it about who? You've made it about you. And we know this intuitively. We got to make it about the person in the meeting. Well, then you got to stop, pivot, and say, hey, this is about you. I'm here to serve you. What do you want to get out of this meeting? You're like, got it. We're going to accomplish that, and so on. This is a very critical step to that. So I'm going to share some questions that we train to that in this 30 minutes, you know, they're not in any particular order, but just wanted to share with you. Like, so one would be, this would be like talking about remember we have current to desired. This would be the desired question. So 5 years from now, what would need to happen in your financial strategy to provide you more peace of mind? And so why do we ask this question? Is to understand how the prospect finds success and provides a clear line of sight to what they're going. You could adjust this and repackage this in any way. So, Jim, just a question. If we were sitting here 2 years from now, you mentioned you want to retire in 2 years. If we were sitting here 2 years from now, like, what would need to happen in order for you just to get kind of got the peace of mind? That's exactly what I wanted. I'm just curious, like, specifically, what would need to happen with that versus what you're currently doing, or how are you going to package it? They are telling you that's where I want to be. Like, look, and then as they begin to answer that, there's some of the things that we train to, your ability to maneuver through that, what I call the question funnel, that you ask that general question, you start getting answers. Now you're looking for specifics. So, Jim, I'm just curious, like, I'd like to understand that a little bit more. You know, when you say that you want to retire 2 years, like, are you here in Denver, or are you moving to Florida? Like, I'm just kind of curious. You're just diving in, just going deeper and deeper. There's this idea, so just to remind yourself, the word, you know, curious. The more curious you are, I'm just curious, it naturally allows us to kind of go down into this question funnel, because everything that's connected to something emotional. Remember this. Problems and solutions come in pairs. There's a fact, and then there's a feeling to that. You know, like, we make those decisions accordingly. Another question I have for you. How do you currently feel about your current investment strategy, and what specifically makes you feel that way? Again, I'm opening this up to where good, bad, indifferent, whatever, is that I want to understand and isolate the feeling. Maybe, because maybe like, man, we're really comfortable with the allocation that we have, but they told you they're concerned about the market. So it allows you the chance to get some clarification and be like, so John, Jim, a few minutes ago you mentioned that you and Julie are just concerned about the volatility and what's actually happening, but you're comfortable with your strategy. I'm curious, can you help me understand that feeling of you like what you're doing, but you don't like how it's making you feel? Can you help me understand that a little bit more? Or what? So who knows how this question moves, but hopefully you're seeing how you can take one question and really peel into different directions. Do you currently support any nonprofits? If so, can you tell me more about these organizations? This is a great question that we coach to, because once you get into the conversation, a lot of people support nonprofits with their time and their financial resources. And again, you're trying to get to know them, like, hey, is that something important to you? Do you do that now? Or is that something important to you in the future? And what's really powerful about this question is, one, most advisors never ask this. Two, this is a value prop question. So this is one of those very insightful, very meaningful questions. And when you ask great questions, the respect that you garnish back from that prospect drastically goes up, because you win either way with the question. If they say, yeah, we do, we support our church, and that's important to them. Awesome. I mean, who knows? I've had this conversation many times with advisors. They ask the question, and maybe it's a nonprofit that, for cancer research. Why? They had cancer. They know somebody who died to cancer, whatever it is. There could be something very impactful that you discover in that. And if they say no, I guarantee you they will still respect you for asking this particular type of question. Another question. What are some of your specific financial goals? Like Jason, really? Why this? Because there's some keynotes I want to take you that I can coach on here. What are some of your specific financial goals that you have for yourself? What I'm listening for when I ask this question is the order and the emotion. Let me repeat that. The order in which they state what is specific to them and the emotion behind it. Let me give an example. So I'm going to say, yep, specific goal, we want to try and retire by 65 or 65 years. Like, that's the goal. That's where we want to be. So on. And I'm speaking for myself, like, hey, I want to move to Florida. Got it. But I'm like, oh, by the way, when I get there, I'm buying myself a boat. And because I want to fish. And, like, that's what I want to do. And I spend an extra 15 seconds of emotion sitting around that boat. To me, man, that boat is a priority when it comes to building and understanding what are some of their specific financial goals. And another way to make sure that you got it is you're writing the goals down and you're asking Julie. So I'd have a follow-up question. So Jim, Julie, if you don't mind, so first of all, thanks. That could be like a 5-minute conversation. So if you had to rank, like, in terms of order, hey, I know they're retiring in 5 years, but, like, hey, I know, Julia, like, maybe you want to travel more or do this. Like, how do you guys think about this in terms of order of, like, man, if I knew that this was 1 and this was 2 and this was 3, that would be ideal. And you're getting more insight to how they view the world. One of the most powerful books I ever read about just understanding the psychology and how to think about this from a sales perspective was called The Socratic Selling, which is really anchored around what we know as asking the right questions. But in the book, Dan says the following. He says, and this is a great reminder for us all, your prospects, they have the answers, right? It's their world about where they're at, where they want to go, and what's important to them. It's just our job to connect with them and get that information pulled out of them in a way that we can actually do something with to discover if there's alignment to our products or services. So, again, just as, even though it's simple, what are some financial goals? There's other tactical ways for you to follow up on that. Another question. Again, how would you rank your biggest concerns and or challenges when you think about your financial future? Very specific word here. I'm now asking them to do what? To rank them. Like, so as we sit here and you're going through this conversation, so when you think about your challenges, Jim and Julie, I'm just curious, like, if you had to rank them, like, specifically, what's, like, number one that keeps you up at night, number 2 and 3, like, when you think about this? Julie, you know, and again, making sure that I'm going to both husband and wife in this particular situation, as obvious that is. And if somebody, and I know this happens, sometimes the husbands take control and the wife just said, yeah, great, whatever he said. Here's a strategy on how to go back to that. Julie, I appreciate that. But, like, if you don't mind, like, specifically, like, I'd love to hear from you. Like, what do you like about that order? Like, what does that order mean to you? Making her emotionally support that and buy in on that. It wins respect because you're respecting her voice and her opinion on it. But 2, you're getting this party to agree and create alignment around, remember, where they're at, where they want to go, and in this case, what are the challenges? Because at the end of the day, folks, businesses exist to do one thing, and that is what? Solve problems. Those that solve problems best, those are the ones that are going to win. And then one last question. We normally go through 12 of these, but just for today, we're going to go through from how important is social responsible investing to you? I bring this up, you know, here at Simplicity Wealth, this is something we provide to our advisors. If you're not offering this, you need to know this is a growing segment, and this is becoming more and more popular, and just want to highly encourage people to make sure that they're in a position to execute on it. So, again, we're going through that first 30 minutes. I cannot stress it enough. You know, you're just doing a great job at connecting, and their desire to change. You know, like, what this looks like pretty much, I'll call it like 90%. You're like, got it. They're here, they're feeling like this, they desire this, they want this, they're kind of doing this, they wish they were doing more of this. You know, Susie Orm told them to do this, so they got questions. They're all over the place. You've got this beautiful mosaic of what their life looks like. Now, we want to lean into and really identify more of the facts. Remember, I'm either running to something or I'm running away from something. I mean, I'm doing something or not doing something that's causing it. So now that's going to lead us into this. So again, maybe take a picture of this. Like, this is such a powerful way to bridge from the first 30 minutes into the second. So now we're going to identify. So Jim and Julie, so first of all, I noticed you brought your statements. We don't mind grabbing those, and they're about, you know, they kind of hand them over. Now, before you do that, this is what I'd like you to say. So Jim and Julie, before you review your financial statements, I'd like to know which of these accounts, one or all of them, is causing you to feel, you know, Jim, you said concern about inflation or market volatility. Can you share with me specifically? And you shut up. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to pull out their finger, and they're like, this right here. Their 401k, 403b, this annuity, whatever it is that they're pointing to, you are latched in on that. Like, they're just telling it. Like, the pain is right near my elbow. So don't look at their knee. Go right to the elbow and begin to create, and now we're compounding on this alignment as to going, yeah, now you're doing your job. You're looking at what they have, asking more questions. So, Jim, if you don't mind me asking, do you currently have an advisor that is helping provide guidance on this account? Okay. So how did you guys determine how you got there? I don't know. You just put his investments in it. I don't know, causing it. I'm glad you might way in here and spending 15 minutes going, yeah, got it. I can see why this is a concern. And going to that. So again, folks, if this is 20 minutes or like whatever, but this is how you bridge your way into this next 15 minutes. So now, at the end of 45 minutes, you should be able to fundamentally answer the very first question. Can I help this person? So just to do a quick review, 30 minutes, yep, current desired challenges, yep, I fix those kind of problems, I'm pretty sure. Now you're like, I absolutely fix those problems. Like, I can fix that problem, and I love fixing that problem. Now we need to go discover, does this person want this problem fixed or not? Remember, because if they don't, then you can't help somebody. So, this is how we progress it. The last 15 minutes, So right here, so now I'm stepping from step 2 to step 3. So Jim and Julie, based upon the information all you share with me here today, you're an ideal fit for our firm because you are who we serve. These are the types of challenges and problems that we see and fix on a weekly basis. Here's what I'd like to do next. I'd like to share with you about our proprietary process and here at Jenkins Wealth Management and how it empowers us to identify and impact those specific challenges that can have on your financial future, your ability to achieve those, if that's okay with the both of you. And now what you do, so please take a note, you are selling your second appointment. You're talking, so whatever your process is, I'm assuming it's using some type of financial diagnostic and proposal, you're walking them through, this is how we do it. So we take the information, whatever, Retirement Analyzer, Money Guide Pro, and when you come back, we're going to show you exactly what it looks like and where the challenges are, all of that and how we go. Like, they got a clear picture. They know exactly what that looks like. Do you charge for it? Do you not? Like, there's no question. So they're like, oh my gosh, like this is exactly what we're going through. So again, if you're taking notes, you're selling your process. And though they're in your process, now you're really leaning in, but this is about how you help people. So this is the question. At the end of the 15 minutes. I'm sorry. So this process involves running a financial diagnostic on the current situation. And my recommendation is, again, we get into this more in our training. People like analogies, so you could talk about like going to a doctor. What do you go, don't feel good, they draw some blood, take an x-ray of the shoulder, whatever that's bothering you. We have that same process. So it's all about this diagnostic. So this next statement that I'm going to put back up, this is what you ask at the very, very end to see, are these individuals is this a good opportunity potentially for them to become a client? So Jim and Julie, I've got one other question that might sound silly, but as you sit here today, is this something that both of you are saying that, yes, that you want these challenges to be addressed and you're open to learning about solutions that can help you fix them? When they say, are you both open to change? And they're either going to say what? Yes or no. And you need to lean in and really just pause and just sit there. And that quietness is okay. And you can take this statement any which way you want. Like, I know this might sound like a silly question, Jim and Julie, but I need to ask it because I've been doing this a while. But, these challenges that we talked about, as you can see, look, we have a process that goes through it, but as you sit here today, are you both open to seeing about different strategies that can help fix those? Are you guys open to change? And they're going to say yes or no. And hopefully they're like, oh my God, this has been such a great fit. They're like, yes, I'm open to change. And that's because you walked them through this process. So this is your first appointment process. And I'm just telling you, like, I guarantee you executed in this structure, the advisors that follow this and come to our training, they're like, yeah, this just feels a lot easier because this is the natural way to do it. Remember, like, can I help you? Do you want to be helped? Great. Like, let's go lean into that. So hopefully you captured some stuff from that as it relates to the first appointment. So I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about what we're doing here at Simplicity Wealth to enhance